Hey guys, welcome to the workshop. Today's video is going to be all about building these two cabinets. They're going to go up onto the left and the right side of the washer and dryer in our laundry room. So stick around. So we're going to jump right into this project, and the first thing I got to do is mill down all the plywood to the dimensions that I needed for this project. Okay, obviously it's the next day, I'm wearing a different shirt, but so once I've got all these cut, basically you really want to make sure that at this point everything is nice and square. If it's not, you need to trim it. I just found out that my table saw sled is actually a little bit out of square. Go figure. I don't use it all that often, but may need to make a new one. So I've got my panels for both the sides. Now what I'm going to do is use some of the scrap cutoffs to make the back. And the back is normally going to have about a 2 or 3 inch spacer at the top and the bottom, and that's actually the board.
And that is where my audio went kaput. And so basically I'm making the back support boards for the cabinets.
Okay, so I had to pull out my old dado stack and come up with what I think the distance was, and I did a little bit of experimenting and got my height and the depth perfectly. I have this piece of 1/2 inch wood right here, and it fits perfectly on it. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is measure for the shelf heights on all of these, mark them, and go ahead and cut the dado slots for those shelves. Okay, so it took me a while to kind of get this all figured out, but I've got all my measurements and I got them written down for each space of where each dado and the space between them. And basically what I'm going to do is go ahead and mark them with pencil. Then I'm going to follow that line onto the other ends, because what I'm going to use is my fence to line up my dado to these different lines here to run it through. But I'm only going to mark one, because if I mark this one and cut this dado with the fence set, all I'm going to do is take my other board and run it right through, and then I can adjust the dado for the next one, and so forth and so forth. That way both pieces for each cabinet will be identical. Right, so I got all of the sides cut for this cabinet. Now I got to make the shelves, and then shelves I'm going to actually use 1/2 inch wood. That's what I cut the dados for. They need to be basically 17 inches wide by 23.5. But I got to cut 8 of them. So once again, I'm going to have to lay this out, use my regular circular saw and my straight edge, and do what I did basically on the panels before, because my table saw is just too small and my shop is just too small too. So now with all of my boards cut, I wanted to do a dry fit and just make sure everything looked good and was nice and square. So the first thing I do when I'm going to glue this up is I want to make sure that when I'm putting brad nails in these, I'm not going to miss my mark. So I kind of put a little pencil tick mark pretty close to the center of that dado, and then using my square, just line it up to that mark, and I don't push too hard, but just a light little line so that it gives me a guideline when I put my brad nails in there. And I do that on both of them. Alright, I'm using 18 gauge brad nails, and what you want to do is you want to always go in this way. The nail has a tip that wants to make the nail go either that way or this way. So if you get to kick out, it should kick out on either side. But if you do it this way, you're probably going to have kick out almost every single time. Alright, for this I've got it set up for 1/2 inch, and when you put some pocket holes in this is actually the top piece of the whole cabinet, and I'm just going to use pocket holes to get it to stay in there. Alright, well, we're coming down the home stretch. Now I just need to turn this thing around so I can view the back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these braces in it. Now this is the top. I've got one with 3 pocket holes on each side. It's going to go right here. And then one with 2 at the bottom. And then in between this, we're actually going to put the 1/4 inch plywood. But I'll have to use my router and route this. I could probably cut that on the table saw first, but in this case I'm not going to, because I'm also going to have to cut a routed little groove in the side panels to receive that so that the back is flush as well. Alright, well, these are all pretty much good to go. This is the next day. Everything's dry. So what I'm going to have to do is put a little bit of edge banding on these 1/2 inch boards right here. Not the bottom one, not the sides, not the top. These are just going to be the only place that's exposed. And then what I'm going to actually do is take some of this poplar. It's 3/4 inch poplar. I'm going to make a 1.5 inch frame all the way around it. And that's going to basically be held together by a lot of brad nail it all to the face of this. Okay guys, that's pretty much going to be a wrap for this video. I just finished them up by putting some wood filler in all of the nail holes, and then the next step is going to be basically to mount them, and then we're going to paint them once they're already mounted. Mostly my wife's going to do all of that while I'm at work, and so but in order to put these up I need to actually build the built-in, which is where our coats and our we're going to have a couple drawers in it as well. I'm going to have to build that first so we know where to mount these. So that will be pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys are enjoying this this series. We just took the old flooring up. It looks really ugly now, but we've got the hardwood flooring coming, and that'll be coming up in an upcoming video. Guys, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time right here in the workshop and in the laundry room.